Kia ora. Welcome again to the Rebecca Ann Knits Knitting Podcast. So grateful to be able to join you again today to share with you all about my projects, my works in progress, my finished objects, and what I'm planning to be working on in the near future. If you'd like to find me on social media, you can find me as Rebecca Ann Knits on Instagram, here on YouTube, and also on Ravelry. Feel free to like and subscribe if you would like to keep up to date with my content. And yeah, thanks so much for joining me again today. Welcome. I'm just going to follow the regular kind of format, so join me as we chat about knitting. Today I am wearing this tee. It is the Raindrops sweater by Tin Can Knits. Originally written with long sleeves, but this was my first garment in 4-ply and fingering weight, and I did not have it in me for long sleeves, so it is a t-shirt. It has this lovely little eyelet pattern in the yoke here. It's like a round yoke sweater. Mine's like full length, so I can wear it with kind of anything. And this yarn is by Skeins. It was a limited edition that they put out at one point a few years ago. I probably knit this in the 2020 or 2021, and it is a Polworth and Yak blend, which is really beautiful, and this beautiful tonal kind of bluey teal colour. I absolutely love it. It's really pretty. I wear it quite frequently, so it's a little bit pilly, because of course with Polworth Yak being a more luxury fibre, softer fibre, it's definitely a bit more of tendency to pill. But I don't do it very often, and I really enjoy wearing it. Perfect for today. It is cloudy but warmish. It's kind of autumn here now, so yeah, it's kind of probably in the low 20s, so a lightweight knit tee is perfect garment for today. I have 3 FOs to share with you today. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of nearly 5 whips and some plans. So let's get into it, shall we? In terms of FOs, I spoke in my last episode about wanting to knit a Milo vest for a baby shower that I had coming up. The baby shower was actually this morning. I wasn't able to go in the end, as I'm on call in case any babies turn up. And I need to stay within 20 minutes drive of the hospital, and the baby shower was over to Wairarapa, so it was about close to an hour from me, so couldn't go, which is unfortunate, but means I can share with you the little Milo vest that I made, which I will gift to that expectant mother sometime soon as well. This is beautiful little Milo vest with a cable down the front there. I actually haven't blocked it yet, but I have sewn in all the ends. This is knit in an Incognito yarn that was sold by Skeins, but is actually another branded yarn in disguise. I don't know which one, but it's beautiful. It's 100% New Zealand lamb's wool, and this kind of like blue black melange kind of tonalness. It's gorgeous. It's so soft. I actually really wish I had more of this. I do have a little bit more, and I have a couple of skeins here in this kind of like charcoal grey, which is just lovely. So anyway, this was the 0 to 3 month size, so the second size in the pattern, and I have a little cute onesie that's going to go with it as a little gift. So thoroughly enjoyed knitting that up. It was so quick. I then knit a second Milo. This is my second finished object. This is for a friend of mine. I made some baby knits for her nephew when he was born, and it's now coming up to his first birthday, and so I knit a new Milo for him for his first birthday on behalf of my friend. And this is the 12 to 18 month size. Same cable. It's so cute. This pattern is written to be knit all in the round, but I actually knit this top yoke part until it's joint flat, and then just seamed this back shoulder portion on both of these so that I could, because it's garter stitch, so that I could just knit and not have to knit a row, purl a row as you do in the round. So yeah, I did all the garter stitch flat to this point here, and then I just had to do those few transitional rows there, knit a row, purl a row. So it just makes it easier for me, and I don't feel like it's distinctly different really, where you've got that raglan line that you actually, this one's stitched together and this one is knitting around. It's not really obvious, so it makes a much more pleasant knitting experience for me. So that's how I do these. This is knit in another Skeins yarn. This is Flight Naturals, and the colourway, this is the ball here. What colourway is this? This is called Wicker. Oh, it's blowing out a bit, sorry, it's quite bright, the sun today. And this is just a DK weight, 104 metres for 50 grams. I used 2 of these. Exactly 2, I just made it the length that I got with 2 balls. Yeah, so that was lovely. So I've made those 2 little baby gifts. And my other, more exciting for me, FO, is that I finished my mini mock neck. Finally, I feel like this has been on the needles for ages. But isn't it gorgeous? I finished it. Hooray! The body just went on and on and on and on and on. And I don't know why, because it's not actually that long, because it's like a little cropped cami. But anyways, tank top. I didn't do a full high mock neck on this. I decided to keep it just to kind of a crew neck scoop. Because that suits my personal style more. And I felt like it was more in keeping with the small edgings around everywhere else. It's just got 1x1 rib along all the finishes. Mine has not ended up with such a deep armhole depth as in the pictures. It's definitely just like more standard tank size. Like that's not really deep. Like in the picture I feel like they were kind of really low. And I'm fine with that. Makes for a more versatile garment, I guess. I think I must have just mismeasured an instruction in this knit flat part. Before I joined, I obviously didn't quite get the length that I was supposed to, or maybe my row gauge was out. I didn't gauge swatch very carefully for this, but it fits me great. It looks wonderful with the pants that I made it to wear with. I will endeavour to put that outfit on and put a photo in here of it together because I'm not wearing it today. But yeah, really love it. The merino linen combo is feeling really beautiful. This has had a mid-project block and a post-finishing block, and it's starting to feel really soft. There's still a little bit of stiffness to the linen, but you can tell that it's going to get more drapey and more soft as it gets washed and worn. It is a hand wash merino that I've held the linen with, so it won't be a throw it in the washing machine kind of situation, but it's easy enough to just give it a wee soak in the sink, and then I always pop my knits on just a spin cycle to get all the majority of the water out and then hang them flat to dry. Actually I hung this one on a hanger to dry because I wanted it to have the most weight in this vertical way. I wanted it to be as drapey and as long as it could be. So rather than stretching it out flat and just potentially distorting the shape, I just stuck it on a hanger and let it hang. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. It's beautiful. I'm looking forward to getting some wear out of this. Again, it's actually really good weather for wearing a merino linen blend tank top in this kind of like late summer transition to fall weather. With a little cardi over or something, even better. Hopefully I've put that photo in of the full outfit, so really loving this. Really happy to have it off the needles because it is a finer weight gauge, and I just felt like I was going around forever and getting nowhere. I like stocking stitching around, but it's really nice to have this done, and I'm really happy with the result. I'll definitely make this pattern again. I might endeavour to actually make the armhole depth the way it should be and if I make it again, but definitely next summer. It's really great knit, and it is nice that it's top down. A lot of camis and singlets tend to be bottom up because of the shaping that's done in the top, and that makes it quite hard with wool yarn management. This one I had a cone of each, so I had kind of unlimited amount of yarn, so I wasn't worried about running out. But often if you're trying to knit a tank in a single skein, or with leftovers, or just a couple of skeins, it's nice to work top down so that you can get your maximum yarn usage without having to guesstimate and rip back all the time. So really happy with this. FO, cute little baby knits. And what else? Then we're on to whips. This is kind of a half finished object. I talked about these socks last episode, and wanting to combine this yarn that I showed you. This is the Colour Wave by Countrywide Yarns. It's just so pretty. Combine this with some kind of fluff to make a DK weight sock. Well, this is already a DK weight. I held it with some drops brushed up packer, which I had a whole pile of in this beautiful hot pink. And I held those together, and I made the new released pattern by Emily of Hyperfiber Knits. This is her Mal Mirage socks, which is a kind of worsted Aran weight sock in full rib. So yeah, really love how this has come together. It's yeah, really beautiful. One down, one to go. Sorry about that. It's a Saturday, my kids are home, so the interruptions will come. Back to the sock. Really happy with this. If anything, it's a tiny bit short in the foot. I've kind of had it on this blocker to make sure this is a good length for my foot. This block, if it fits this blocker, so I'm hoping that having blocked it on this will just have lengthened it a tiny bit. It's quite hard to guesstimate, and it's actually quite hard to see your rows as you're knitting. On the blocker, when it's stretched out, it's kind of quite obvious, but as you're going, it's quite hard to see with the rib and the really fluffy yarn. But anyways, thoroughly enjoyed it. Super quick. This has a shadow wrap heel, which is the first time I have ever done that. Technique for a heel, it was actually really straightforward and simple. I enjoyed it. I think I will continue to use it potentially in the future if I'm doing a sock and I don't just want to do a tube and an afterthought heel. So we'll see how it fits. I've tried it on, but not obviously worn them around yet. So yeah, one down, one to go. So these will be along with my what month is it? March socks. Whether or not I'll finish them this month, I don't know, because I've got other stuff I want to work on. And I haven't even cast on the second one yet, but it would literally just take like a couple of evenings to knit one of these up so fast. And I did these ones slightly longer than I do my shorty socks because they're quite thick. They're kind of going to be more like slipper socks, so not quite as long as the pattern recommended, but I tried them on as I went, and my cast on was quite tight over my calf, so I kind of just made them to the length that I could pull them on up my calf and be comfortable. Yeah, so that's the socks. Again, with the children. I'm back. This could be a rather disjointed podcast. I do apologise. I had hoped to record yesterday when the kids were all at school, but that didn't work out. And it's kind of good because I've got lots more to show you since yesterday, so we'll leave it there anyway. But apologies for the disjointedness. If this is disjointed, you just have to embrace the crazy. My next whip is my Sweet Shop blanket with my Hobbit Advent. I have picked this up again. I will endeavour to put in a picture of the first half of this blanket, which I knit during Advent, during December. And I always knew that I would only make half the blanket over that Advent period, and I would make the second half when the weather cooled down. I decided to actually just start again and start from the beginning, which is you make it in this orientation. This one here is the Shire, and that was my first square, and then you pick up one on each side and then one in the centre, and it goes from there. So I'm going to make the same rectangle again that I made last time, and then just whip stitch them together when I do all the ends, because I couldn't be bothered having like a whole blanket to be attaching to. I was like, I'd rather just start small and then whip stitch the two halves together, because the way it's constructed, I wasn't going to be able to spread. Yeah, it just made the most logical sense to me, so that's what I'm doing. I have been really enjoying this. So the contrast colours here are the There and Back Again Hobbit Advent from the Skein and the Stitch, and then the main colour, I guess that's what you call it, is Kelly & Co Authentic Irish Dongle Tweed, a worsted woolen spun kind of worsted weight yarn, New Zealand merino, but manufactured into this beautiful tweedy yarn in Ireland. You see, it's got really subtle coloured nips in there. It's really beautiful. It's quite different from the non-superwash merino held double that I'm using for the contrast colour, so I do get a bit of, you can kind of see that these are a bit wobbly, because this is definitely knitting up bigger than this does, but I'm making it work. It's only a blanket, and the only modification I've made to the pattern is that instead of using 4mm needles, I'm using 5mm needles, and instead of using the full 45 stitch count, which you increase out to and decrease down from, I'm only doing 41 stitches, and that's just because of my bigger gauge. And I chose to do that because I wanted a more drapey, lightweight blanket rather than a really dense, I don't know, dense, thick blanket. So I'm really enjoying this. It is lovely just to pick up in between projects, and the weather is cooling down, so it will be lovely to have a nice, like, lap blanket, I guess, by the time this is done. That's whip number 2. Whip number 3 is my Mayberry cardigan. I have been working on this again. It's going to be a little bit hard to show. Oh, AirPods. Just because it's a bit crushed up on the needle. But this is how I am going. I am about halfway down to the split for sleeves and fronts and backs now. Isn't it just stunning? This fabric is just lovely. I am absolutely enjoying this, every minute of knitting this fisherman's rib. Took me a while. The pattern was a little bit unclear on the increases, and how they, not how to do them. She's got really good video tutorials, but the instructions on where to put them and how they exactly work, that was a little bit confusing. Took me a while to get my head around. But I think I've got it under control now. There's another lovely knitter who I've been messaging who's also knitting one of these, and we've been comparing notes as we go. She said that hers grew heaps with blocking. She did a block before she split for sleeves, and it was really pleased she did because it grew a lot. So I will also do that because my gauge is bigger than stated than it should be, and also I've gone down a size, but also I have silk content in this yarn, and so it will probably be quite drapey and could grow quite a bit. So, which is good because it's supposed to be an oversized cardigan, so I'm hoping that that will all work out well, and my maths has not failed me, which wouldn't be 100% surprising because maths is not my top subject, but I feel like it's coming along. I just adore the colour. I adore how the stitch is looking. I can't really do this because it needs to be on a longer cable. It's beautiful. I love that you do the double knit at the same time, so you don't have to come back and pick up a band at the end, especially not a double knit band at the end. So you got that knit as you go, and it's at the same gauge. You don't need a separate needle or anything. It's pretty intuitive. Now I've got into it. You just follow, like, she's written out kind of a chart that you follow, like a tick chart that shows you which rows you have increases for, which are different in each size. But yeah, I'm loving it. Hasn't had a lot of love because I've been trying to get my test knit done, but I was inspired after messaging this other lady earlier in the week, and so I did work on this a bit last weekend. Was it last weekend? I think so. So yes, loving having this back on the go. I'm so close to finishing my test knit, which is my final whip to show you, and then this can get a bit more love as well. There's no timeline for this, obviously. I am toying with the idea of going to Christchurch for a day in May, mid-May. I know I've said on previous episodes that it would be lovely to have this done for my birthday in June, but if I go to Christchurch in May, I would go to Get Flocked, and Get Flocked is born out of Outlaw Yarns. Ethan, who's a co-owner of Get Flocked, used to work for Outlaw Yarns, and Outlaw Yarns are the ones who make Nyx. And how cool would it be to go visit that yarn store wearing a beautifully knit and Outlaw Nyx? Like, it's a statement colour. It's an obvious colour that this is who it is and what it is. To go there. I don't know if Outlaw Yarns, there is Outlaw Yarn store in Christchurch as well. I don't know if they're open on Thursdays, which is when I would be going. But my husband has a work trip down there, and so has accommodation and stuff already all paid for his work. So all I'd have to do is pay for flights and take the day off, and I could go for a little day off adventure. So that might happen. So I kind of have this dream of having it done by mid-May, but it's probably pretty unlikely because there's still a lot of knitting to go. I'm still on my first 100 gram ball, very close to the end. It's kind of becoming a bit of a disaster now because I seem to pull and it's now getting very floppy, but I've got a few grams left there. Yeah, a little bit left, so still on the first 100 gram ball, which gives me hope. If I'm halfway through the yoke, though of course it's getting larger and larger and larger, because I have a limited amount of this yarn. I have 7 of these 100 gram balls, which is not as much meterage as the yarn, as the pattern requests. This is a very hungry stitch pattern, yarn hungry stitch pattern, but I figure I just make it cropped. Like, I kind of feel like I'll get to the stitch, to the split for the shoulders and shoulders, what am I talking about? I'll get to the underarm split and maybe finish that ball that I'm working on, and then I might do the sleeves next and see how much yarn. So I've got enough to do those because I don't feel like this would look good as a short sleeve or a 3/4 sleeve. The appeal is in the big voluptuous sleeves as well. So then the sleeves, and then put whatever I've got left into the body, unless that ends up being way too much. Have a kind of like, wouldn't it be amazing if I got through with only using 6 and I had 1 left over and I could like hold it with something or not and make like a little crop or tank that I could wear under it? Wouldn't that be cute? I'd love that. Like a little cami that I could wear with this. That would be really fun. So, and I'm kind of secretly hoping it'll only take 6 balls and I have 1 left over, but I'm doubtful. But we'll see. We'll see. Loving it. Loving that project. It's really good. It's a long-term project, unless I try and finish it for May. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, it's 8 weeks. It's doable if that's my main project. Haven't been particularly busy so far with my midwifery placement, but I'm expecting it to ramp up soon. So I think the time I have for knitting will decrease rather than increase in the near future. But anyways, so that's the Mayberry by Amy Loudon. And my final whip is my test knit. This is my Irene slipover that I am test knitting for Journey Through Yarn. The sweater version of this, which I also test knit, was just released this last week, a week ago I think. So have a look at that. You can look at my previous episodes for the sweater that I made in a beautiful pale pink. This is the slipover. So you can see I have the neckband done. I have the whole yoke done. I am on the final pattern repeat on the body before I do rib. It's designed to be relatively cropped. It recommends 26 centimeters from armhole to where you start the rib, and I will be there once I have finished. I've got 1 more of the stitch pattern repeat to do. Yeah, and then that should be done. Rib, and then armhole ribs. So it's close. It's close. It's felt like a slog. Probably because I already knit a whole sweater with the same stitch pattern, like literally just before this one. And it's a 4mm needle, which isn't a small gauge. It's a 21 stitch gauge, which is not small, but after knitting lentos all of the last year on 6mm needles with a 15-16 stitch gauge, it feels slow. Probably why that singlet felt slow as well. And it's also 2 slices bigger than I would normally knit for myself, as I am gifting this to a friend of mine, because I haven't worked out how to make slipovers part of my wardrobe yet. They're just not something I gravitate to, but they needed more test knitters in the slightly larger sizes, so I said, oh, I'll knit one and I'll make it for my friend. She would probably prefer if it was longer than 26 centimeters. She's not really a cropped girl, but literally I'm so over this project. I'm making it 2 pattern requirements, and that's that she can learn how to style it somehow. So yeah, I'm loving it. It's getting close to the end, and I am hoping that I can get that off the needle soon, because there's something else that I want to have on them. Also, I have that test knit for Herb Garden Knitwear, the Riviera tee. I still haven't cast it on. I was going to cast that on when I finish this, but that chest knit is not due until July. This one's not due till the 20th of April, so I've got another whole month on that. So I'm not running short on time, just motivation. But yes, I shall also need to cast on that Riviera's tee, because that is a 28 stitch gauge on light fingering weight, and will take quite a bit of knitting. But I'll get there. I'll get that one cast on soon, I hope. What I would really like to cast on is, I'll fill you in on after I talk to my daughter for a moment. I'm back. The thing that I really want to cast on was just released today. The Lauder sweater cardigan vest mega pattern by the Crave Layer was released today, which I'm so excited about. I have been eyeing this one up since she was talking about it, and even though traditionally I haven't really been into cables, and I find them a bit of a hassle to knit, I am so loving this sweater and I want to make it. I think a lot of the time when you do cables, you have quite wide purl panels in between the cables, and I just get really sloppy tension in that, like when you can transition from a cable to a purl column, I always get saggy stitches on the sides, and I just don't know how to rectify it because nothing I've tried works. That's kind of put me off doing the whole full cabled thing, because I'm like, it's just going to look sloppy and it's going to be so much work and not look great. But with this sweater, there's only a one purl stitch separating the cables, so there's a lot of cables, but there's not big gaps in between, and so I feel like I'm going to get a better result with my knitting style and tension with this sweater than I would in other cabled sweaters. So I'm going to make one. I'm so excited. I was going to wait until I had finished the test knit before I cast this on, but I couldn't resist at least doing the swatch. So I brought the pattern when I was still in bed this morning, and I cast this on today around lunchtime and just did this little swatch. So isn't it cute? Oh, it's so pretty. I knew from the word go as soon as I saw it. Pink tweed. That's what I wanted. I want this full cable knit sweater with the V-neck and pink tweed. I had these cones, this cone that I had brought from Yarn on Cone, and my lovely friend Amy at Yarn on Cone, and I just knew it. I knew it immediately. As soon as the test knit was called for, I applied and I'm like, I'm going to use this yarn, and I didn't get in, which is probably a good thing, because it's nice not to have a timeline on knitting it. But this is my plan, to use this. Now the pattern calls for a DK weight, like 110 meters for 50 to 50 grams. This is a bit lighter than that. This is 130 meters to 50 grams, and it is a blend of merino wool, it's really hard to read in this light, there's a tag on the inside here. It is some amount of alpaca. I can't read it. 50 something, 50? Oh gosh. It's partially alpaca, partially extra fine merino, and 30% nylon. Wow, that was a struggle. So it is alpaca merino nylon blend. It is a single ply on this cone. I actually have 3 cones of various sizes, because there's not quite enough meterage on this one alone, and because it's a little bit lighter weight than what she called for. I was a bit hesitant to hold it alone. I thought I could, then I thought maybe I'd hold it double, but then I think that'll be too heavy, and I also don't think I quite have enough meterage. For my size, it's recommending 1300 meters, because cables are a bit yarn hungry as well. So what I am doing is I am holding it with this cone, which are very similar in like depth value. So when you knit them together in the swatch, you can barely tell that it's two different yarns. It's just, I guess, a little less tweedy than it would be if you use this one solo. They're blowing out a bit. Sorry about that. There's not much I can do. Hold it over this side when there's not as much sun. I have like windows right in front of me, and so it's great for natural light, but sometimes it does blow out quite a bit. This is again a single ply. This is a much finer weight though. This is like 1500 meters to 100 grams. So like a really light fingering. Like, I don't know, in New Zealand would probably call this 3 ply. It's not quite a 2 ply, but it's not plied. It's a single ply, but that kind of weight, 1500 meters to 100 grams. And this is a blend of 65% merino wool, 27% nylon, and 8% cashmere. It's really beautiful, really beautiful pale pink. Just a solid. It's not really tonal at all. It's pretty solid, but it really does knit up lovely with this. So I'm holding those together. And this swatch is still a tiny bit damp, but the gauge that I got when I measured it just before was 25 stitches, which it's supposed to be 22. The pattern recommends 3.25 millimeter needles, which is tiny for a DK weight. I did this on 3.5s, thinking that I don't think I need 3.25s, and I think I will actually go up to a 4 because I'm still 3 stitches too small. And the size, I'm going to do the third size, and that probably gives me 7 centimeters of ease. I think it's 107 centimeters size, and I'm usually 100 centimeter bust, which is not heaps. So I definitely don't want my stitch gauge to come out smaller. I would rather it be bigger and be between size 3 and size 4. So I think size 4 is like 115 centimeters finished bust circumference, and that's more than I need. With a V-neck, I want it to be relatively fitted. I don't want it to be super saggy or it'll fall off my shoulders, etc. So I think I'm going to go up to a 4. I considered a 3.75, but I think because I'm still a full 3 stitches smaller, and I would be quite happy if I got a 21 stitch gauge, so I was just getting a little bit bigger than what I should. Yeah, I think I'll go up to a 4mm when I cast on. I'm not going to gauge swatch again. I'm happy with the 2 yarns together. I feel like this is plenty dense enough that I could go up half a needle size and it still look beautiful. Yeah, I made a mistake with these first crosses. I crossed them behind instead of in front, but yeah, really happy with this. Really, really excited to cast it on. If I finish, I've said to myself, if I finish this pattern repeat, which still has about 10 more rounds to go, because I'm still kind of creating the depth here before you dip, if I finish that, then I can cast on, because you cast on for the back. It's a drop shoulder sweater, so you don't cast on like a full yoke and start going around. It's small and flat to start with. So I've said that I will, once I've got that done and I've only got rib to go, I can cast this on. And I have no time limit for this. I know it's going to take me a long time. It's a lot of work to do a full cabled sweater. And I'm not going to want to work on it all the time because it's not going to be very mindless. It's very easy. Like I could memorize this just within doing this little tiny swatch. But it's not going to be something that's completely mindless that I can just do without thinking and pick up and put down really easily. So it's definitely going to be a long-term whip, and I don't really care when it gets finished. I just want to make it. So that's kind of the attitude I'm going to be taking into my knitting the rest of this year. Once I get this test knit off the needles, and even with the other test knit, to be honest, because it's got such a long, like 15th of July or something I have to have it done by, and it is only a T, or is it a very fine gauge. I'm kind of semi-regretting signing up for that one. It's not like a design that super inspires me. It's really nice, but it's really simple. Excuse me. I mostly signed up to support Hannah of Herb Garden Knitwear because I've tested for her before, and I think she's a lovely, completely underrated designer. And I wanted to help her out, but I'm kind of a little bit, and I have beautiful yarn to knit it, and it's going to be a beautiful tee that I will wear a lot once it's made. But just having time pressure on stuff is a bit of a drag right now because I have so many things I want to knit on that the test knits are taking my knitting time away from. So I will be endeavouring to not sign up for more test knits. Lisa Crayabaya puts out something really beautiful. I think I may do that. I may apply for that. She's got a test knit open currently for a new all over lace cardigan that she's putting out for the spring summer in the UK, and it's pretty, but it's not. I want to knit this, and so I'm not even applying for that because what if I get picked and then I have to do it? So yeah, I'm just gonna leave that one. I've thought about it and decided that no, it doesn't super inspire me. I don't super want that garment. I'm going to leave it. I can make it when it's released if I want to then, but I don't need to. I don't need to test knit it. I can knit things I want to knit. Like the Mayberry and the Lauder. And socks and my blanket and those chickens. I'm so excited to cast on those chickens. But again, I need to clear some stuff off my needles first. Yeah, I mean, it kind of fills the same spot in my WIP life as this does. So whether or not I will, but it only takes like 3 balls worth of yarn to make one of those chickens. I feel like I had a little bit of excitement getting into this again, and that maybe I will do the chickens and then move back to this. We'll see. I actually purchased recently a couple of extra skeins of this cream colour for this, I forgot to mention, so that when it's done I can actually do a border all the way around the edge. Supposedly these edges are supposed to be tidy enough that you don't need a border, and that is true. I don't need a border. They do look tidy, but because my gauge is a bit wonky, a bit larger, they're not as neat as the ones in the picture. And it does give you instructions to do to pick up and do an I-cord border all the way around, which sounds like a drag because it would be a long border. That's a lot of I-cord, but I may do that, or I may just do a crochet edging. I was thinking crochet edging is super quick and easy to do, so I did pick up an extra couple of skeins of this just so that I have the option of doing a border if I want to. I may not, but we'll see how it goes when it's all finished. That's all my WIPs. And one of my plans, I guess this is basically a WIP, because honestly I will probably spend the afternoon knitting on that test knit and get that section done, and then cast this on tonight. My husband's out tonight. He's got his cricket team's prize giving for the end of year. The cricket season's wrapping up, and so I should have some knitty time this evening. Though I am at home with 3 kids all afternoon, so we'll see. And I am still on call, so you never know when a baby's going to turn up. It might all turn to custard, but we will see what happens. Tomorrow, I have my daughter Ria's birthday party. She turned 6 last Saturday. We had a lovely family day for her birthday. She had a great time. And we have her friend's birthday party at the local swimming pool tomorrow, so that's going to take up quite a lot of the day. We are baking cakes. We've baked 6 cakes so far today. She's having a mermaid theme. She wants a mermaid tail cake. So we are working on baking all the cakes, cooling all the cakes, and my 11-year-old is very excited to do the icing on the cake. So I don't know how that's going to go. It could turn out great. It could turn out very messy. But I'm just trying to let it go. I am not a cake baker, really. I am not one of those wonderful artistic mothers who can make beautiful cakes and have wonderful parties for their children. This is basically just turn up at the swimming pool with some cake and some snacks and have fun. That is the extent of what it is. And so hopefully the cake is still eatable. That's what we're going for, even if it turns into a muddy mermaid mess. We'll see. I'm surrendering. It's just, yeah, it's too hard to control it completely. I'm looking around me to see what else I have to share with you. That is the majority of what I've got going on. Still want to make the chickens. We'll be casting those on soon. Still want to knit on my other sock. Get that one done. I think I'm going to use, is it in here? I have this beautiful, oh, where is it? Oh, I don't see it. The yarn I was thinking of for my next pair of socks is not showing itself. Oh well, I'll show you that next episode when they are cast on. It's a beautiful Mama Wooling skein, and it's called Tropical Pop, I think I showed it to you as an acquisition a few episodes ago. I'm probably going to use that one for my next socks for April. What else have I got in the way of no other real plans. The Lauder and the Mayberry, those are going to be the ones I want to be working on. And a soccer month, and the blanket, and the chickens. Plenty to be getting on with. I do have a couple of acquisitions and a bit of some plans for those to share with you. If you saw my first episode for the year, I talked about plans for the year. Most of that is already out the window because I'm never going to get through all 12 of those sweaters now that so many things have jumped the queue. But I did talk about making the Pink Velvet by Andrea Mowry, and I ended up using the yarn that I had stashed for that for the Harriet cardigan test knit that I did earlier. So I replaced that with some very similar. That was a yak base. This is a possum merino blend. It's really hard to see. Sorry, rustling. I should have taken this out earlier. This is one of my pet peeves on podcasts. I can't believe I'm doing it. Anyways, so this is just a really natural tone. This is called Irish Cream. It is natural merino and Polworth blend with possum fibre. Hand wash, 178 meters for 50 grams. Just a limited edition one from Skeins, as a lot of my yarns are. So I'm going to use that along with this, which is a Mama Wooling. Oh, this is her old label, but this is a Mama Wooling Surrey silk called Blushed. 75% brushed baby Surrey alpaca and 25% mulberry silk. So I'm using those together to make the Pink Velvet by Andrea Mowry. So that will be soon to be cast on once one of these done. Hopefully this year. It's a fingering weight, so it won't matter if that one waits till springtime maybe. I have another daughter visiting. One moment please. Well, she was apparently just watching me through the window. That's really disconcerting. Anyway. Pink Velvet, yeah, so maybe that will be more of a springtime cast on when I'm ready to work with some more lighter weight yarns again. Really pretty though, but again, fingering weight project, so a bit of a longer term one. The other thing I saw is this beautiful picture of Sylvan, and she made, I'll put the picture in, she made the Doppio sweater into a dress. I adored it. It was pink and it was beautiful, different colours melt together. The Doppio sweater is designed to be knit with 3 strands of fingering weight all held together, and I'm not planning to do exactly that, but I am planning to hold 3 strands together. I picked up this at the recent Skeins Epic sale. This is snug. It's machine washable wool. It's just standard cheap wool, basically. Really limited. This was a limited edition colourway called Frenchie, and I'm going to hold it with some of this yarn on cone, giant cone of lace weight mohair in this hot pink, and with this cone of Tweedy yarn, also from Yarn on Cone, which is a merino alpaca blend again with the tweeds. So I'm going to hold all 3 of these together and make a Doppio sweater dress. That's the plan. It'll be amazing. That'll be amazing. That'll be a big project as well. Definitely a heavier weight project. That's like 6mm again. So I'm wanting to cast that on this winter. It's all the pinks, isn't it? So hopefully when I've cast off either the Mayberry or the Lauder, or I get really bored of both of them, I will cast this on. Yeah, so that's cool. My daughters are all staring at me through the window as I sit here and record this. It's very disconcerting, and you may hear them banging on the window. I apologise if that is the case. I might just have to leave this here today because I don't think we're going to really get much more talk in without getting 100 more interruptions. That is basically all that I wanted to share with you anyway. I've kind of slotted my life chat in amongst everything else, so yeah, there's not much more to say other than happy knitting. Thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and hopefully I will join you again in another couple of weeks to share my progress on all of these projects and to report back on what I've been doing. So everyone, happy knitting, take care, and I'll see you again soon. Catch you later. Ka kite.